This is great. I really like this. I think you guys would really like this little eggy thing, this little beady guy. All right. Thank you for your patience, guys. I'm going to have to splice these live streams together if I can. I'm going to try to see what I can do later. But so the first part of the Q&A, this was an email that was sent to me yesterday. And I wanted to read this to you because I'm pretty sure a lot of people struggle with this. So we're starting our Q&A now. I'm gonna lead that out here with this email that I received from a woman named Robin yesterday. Robin says, "Dear Amy, I want to thank you for all your wonderful content that you provide on your YouTube channel. I'm 55 and I am a career IT person, but this year I also became a certified groomer and got my first job part-time working in a grooming shop." So congratulations, Robin. And so Robin's new to grooming, so there's a lot to learn. Not just with tools, products, and how to use them, but with the dogs themselves. Don't forget that we learn more about how to work with dogs the more we do it. So on and on, she says, "I'm having an issue," and I am too, because there's a fly in here. It's bugging me. "I'm having an issue. I have always loved dogs, but shortly after my externship ended, I tried to groom my neighbor's dog, a tiny Maltese, and got exposed to extreme aggression on the part of the Maltese. So the Maltese got really aggressive. Aside from snarling, biting, and screaming, which is really stressful, the dog was so angry, and I had a horrible time with my own emotions because I felt so bad for him. I ended up stopping and letting my mentor finish the job, understandably." So she says, "So now I have nervous anticipation every single Saturday at the grooming shop, and the dogs know it," she says. And I believe that. "And so every other dog, it seems," she says, "tries to bite me when I try to dry them and sometimes just wash them with water. They try to bite me." She says they know it. And I believe that. Sounds like she's very apprehensive. "They know that I'm afraid and I need to collect myself somehow or throw in the towel before I've even gotten really started," she says. That's a very hard pill to swallow, you know. Who wants to quit when they're ready to go, you know? She says the same dogs that try to bite me are 100% compliant with the lead groomer. So I've thought a lot about this. I'm so excited to talk about it. She said, "I've ordered a couple of books about dog behavior, but I'm wondering, have you ever experienced a similar challenge? And if so, how would you overcome it?" Thanks, Robin. That's a great question to lead our live stream Q&A with. And what I want to tell you is, when you said in your email that your lead groomer, more experienced groomer, has no issues, completely compliant dog, and like you said, you are probably a little nervous, and yes, I do think dogs can detect that. They detect if we're uncomfortable, if we're nervous, if we're scared, if we're having anxiety. They detect that, and it makes them feel unsafe too, because they're at our mercy. They're on our grooming table. They're in our bathing tubs. So yes, dogs do feel that. So by you saying as well that with the other groomer, the dogs are just full compliant. For one thing, that groomer is confident. You have lost some confidence, and I could hear it in the words that you were typing. You've lost some confidence, and it's affecting your relationship with the dogs. And I want to tell you, this is such a great email that I'm glad that you reached out to me, because I often say it, and this only proves it, that if we aren't confident about what we're doing, the work that we're doing with the dogs, they're going to feel that, and they're going to want out. They're going to be like, "Oh no, they sense that." So confidence is very important, and that's why I tell people to start grooming slowly. Start working with dogs that first, so that you already kind of have a good little rapport with, because having good behavior and good a working relationship with a dog will build your confidence to then focus on, your grooming skills themselves. So handling a dog is very important. And maybe it is the way that you're handling them. Maybe it's the way you're touching them. What I think, Robin, so since you're new, but it sounds like I saw the word mentor groomer. You have a mentor groomer. And you said, my mentor groomer doesn't have problems with these dogs. What I want you to do, I hear you work on Saturdays. I want you to go in there sometimes, not on a Saturday. And I just want you to sit back and watch. I don't want you to talk. I don't want you to do anything but learn by watching what that groomer is doing. Watch her hands. Watch the opposite hand. So if this hand is holding the water sprayer, if this hand is holding the clippers, what's this hand doing? I want you to watch her or him, whomever. You will learn what they're doing to keep compliancy with the dog. And there are so many things that I could just tell you right now, but it would be a whole live stream about this. Being able to touch a dog in a certain way, actually in certain places sometimes, actually relaxes them. But that's a whole nother topic, having the right touch, because there is a right touch when you're grooming dogs. It's not just like, hey, I'm grooming you. I need you to stand up. I need this fall. I need this paw. I need to see this. I need to look in your ear. There's a touch that you have to have for your dogs to feel safe in your hands. If they don't, they're going to fight you, or they're going to scream, or they're going to do something to try to make you to stop, because they want you to stop. They don't feel like you've got this. So honestly, Robin, I really, really think the best thing you could do is observe. Start observing. You've got to start watching what this groomer is doing with the other hand, because oftentimes it's just under the belly. While I'm doing this, I'm touching the dog under the belly. I'm always touching the dog with my other hand. Sometimes to help keep them still so they don't, get in the line of the scissors or something. Sometimes there's no reason at all what this hand is doing, but I still have it on the dog. And that's important. It reminds the dog that we're together. It really does. So I really, really, really encourage you, Robin, to just go, don't talk. Just watch your mentor groom dogs and watch what they do with their other hand. Watch what they do when a dog starts to fuss. I guarantee you they're not going to stand there and fight with them. They reset. And they reset the dog. That's what a good groomer does. An experienced groomer knows to do that. So in other words, when I say reset, so I'm in the tub with the dog and I'm washing the dog, and he's starting to get real mad and not falling in line. I'm not just going to, you're going to hold. No. I'm going to put the sprayer down, turn the water off, stand the dog up, give that dog a little bit of confidence boost, and also let the dog kind of feel that I'm giving you this second here. We're going to reset. Sometimes a reset, whether it's on the table or in the tub, it takes multiple tries till you reset their brain. But you do have to do it. If they're, you got to stop and you got to reset them. And watch how that other groomer does it, because I guarantee you will learn a lot. So that's my best advice, Robin, and I am so thankful that you submitted your email. I don't want you to give up. I want you to go observe, because you need your confidence back. You need to watch and learn to the point where you can't wait to get back in the ring and say, now I'm ready to try again. I've learned something from watching, and you will. Don't let this beat you down. You'll overcome it. But you have to be strong, and you have to take a step back and say, I have more to learn. I need to watch this professional and how they get this done. And I'm watching the dog. Watch the dog's behavior too. Don't forget that. Watch the groomer. Watch what the other hand is always doing on the groomer. And watch the dog. Oftentimes, you see the groomer touching the dog and moving him here. You'll see the dog just like, he feels like a paper dog. He's just like, whatever she wants me to do, I'm going to do. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. It's something. There's an unspoken language. You have to learn that language. And it's unspoken. We don't need to talk to dogs when we groom them. We really don't. We really don't have to talk at all. So learn that unspoken language, because that's the secret. It really is the secret. And it's a good secret. And you'll learn it from the dogs that you groom. They'll tell you when you're doing right. And you'll be like, I know why this dog is comfortable, because this is what I did. So I'm going to hop right over here to our Google Forms questions for you guys. There's quite a few submitted, and I'm only going to take the ones that have been submitted prior to this live stream. So where are they at? Here they are. Let's start with this one. We're going to start with Wenda, and Wenda has a question and says, how do I encourage Presley, who is a 15-month-old standard poodle, and Wenda is not a groomer, how do I encourage Presley to stay still when I clip her face? He's scared and he moves his head a lot, and I use the Kenchi flash, so it's kind of quiet. So yeah, I think it's great that you're using the Kenchi flash when you're clipping the poodle face. Clipping the poodle face it's not easy. It takes a lot of practice. So if this is the second time you've ever done it, it's going to be awkward to you and the dog. When I took my class, my original basic dog grooming class, I had to groom like 15 poodles. And I'm glad I did, because shaving the feet, the poodle feet, and the face was a real challenge for me. And every time you do it, you learn. But, you know, having a nice, gentle but firm grip on the dog. When I say firm, I don't mean firm grip. I mean don't let them move. So you can hold them, and if they move, they're just butting into your hand. But you have to let them know that you want them to be still. Because see, they don't understand what you want. They don't understand that. And we can't say, hey, look, I want to shave your muzzle. And they're like, I don't speak English. I don't know what you just said. You know, don't forget that. They don't know what we want. We have to lead them there. We have to lead them and let them learn when they are doing something, when we're getting somewhere and they're doing something that we want. That's when we can use our tone or our voice or our words. And keep your words minimal during grooming sessions. That's when we say, good boy. When he's relaxed and allow me to do something, good boy. But the key here too, Wenda, is always, what is the other hand doing? Watch people grooming dogs. Watch my channel. Watch Suzanne's channel. Watch June the Groomer, Rudy. There's so many of us. Watch what the other hand is doing. That's why the dog is being good. And it's not because we're manhandling. It's because we're guiding him with that other hand. That other hand is so important when you're grooming. You can't just, your dog's in front of you, you can't just start clipping them. They're like, what are you doing? You know, you can't. It doesn't work like that. This hand is your lead hand, your opposite hand that's not using the tool. That's your lead hand. So that's the key. Learn what that other hand is doing. And if you start focusing and studying that window, I think you're going to have better results. You're already using the Kenchi flash clipper, which is nice, low vibration, it's quiet, it doesn't get hot, very important because we're shaving the face of a poodle. So you're on the right track. You just need to learn to use that other hand. It's very important. All right, so our next question comes in from Ellen. And Ellen is not a groomer, and she says, thank you for all you do. I just received your shears. They seem so long. She says, are they too long for my little girls? She has Yorkies. They are not too long for your little girls, Ellen. In all my videos, you'll hear me saying, Sometimes when we're using shears, this is not a shear, but I don't have one in front of me. And if I get up and move, my computer is going to get goofy again because of the mic. So say this is my shear. This is my long shear. I don't need to be opening my shear like this when I'm trimming a small dog. When I'm trimming a small dog, I'm only opening my shear a tad bit. That's all I need to, because I only want to use like this much of the shear. So if I only open my shear that far, look, I'm only able to use that much of the shear. If I open it this far, then I'm able to use all of the shear. I don't want that. That's not safe on a small dog. On a small dog, we're really wanting to focus on around the pads, you know, around the feet and the face and the ears. So we only open our shear the tiniest amount and use the tip and control the tip of your shear. And then you'll have very controlled movements. I learned to groom on an 8-inch shear, and for years that's all I used, and it's still to this day all that I prefer. So that's why I suggest it for you guys, because if you learn to groom on your 8-inch shear, you'll be able to groom any size dog, and you don't need to have 5 different size shears. You can have that one size. So I really want you to learn to do that. I think it's important. So good question. And our next question comes in from Opal. And Opal says, I have a large 8-year-old cream golden doodle, and we'll be bringing it home. We'll be bringing home a standard poodle puppy in 2 weeks. So she's probably already got that, because this is an old question. Would you recommend using black enhancing shampoos such as the Nature Specialty Vanda Black Night or the BioGroom Ultra Black color? She's asking if she should use a black enhancing shampoo for a solid black poodle. She says, I use Nature Specialty Plum Silky. That's a great hydrating shampoo. I love it. She says, on our 8-year-old golden doodle, just not sure about the color enhancing shampoo. I love your question, Opal, and you know why? I'm going to tell you why. I don't really put a lot of precedence on whitening shampoos or on, you know, color enhancing shampoos like for our black dogs. And I'll tell you why. The secret is to balance that coat through your shampooing and your conditioning process. We can't skip the conditioning process. When we shampoo and gently release some of those old oils that we need to remove from the skin and coat, that's through the shampooing. We have to do that. So many people, and old times of grooming, never was it pushed to use conditioners. That's the big mistake. So the conditioner comes back in after we have used our shampoo to remove dirt, grime, and old oils. Conditioner comes back in, hydrates the skin and coat, seals the follicle of the hair itself, and it seals the color in. So when your dog's coat, when their follicles, hair follicles, and the hair cuticle is sealed because we used conditioner, and a good conditioner, a conditioner that is going to do the job, then the pigment, the color, you're going to see a beautiful, vibrant, shiny coat, including the color. So I don't believe in whitening shampoos or darkening shampoos. I don't feel that it's necessary if we're properly bathing our dogs, which means we shampoo and we condition. And then we don't have, that is the most natural beauty. That is the way to preserve the most natural beauty of a dog's coat, is to shampoo it and to condition it. And I always leave the conditioner sit on at least 5 minutes, massage it through, and thoroughly rinse it out. A lot of people say, well, how do I know how much to leave in the coat? You don't leave any in the coat. You don't leave anything in the coat. It's gonna collect dirt and build up. It's not. When we condition and we leave it sit on, it is doing the job. Now it's time to rinse it off. Just like when we wash our car. We wash your car, you let it sit on, you let it bake off all that dirt. We're not going to leave any of the soap on, are you? No, because it'll leave buildup on your car. That's the same with shampooing and conditioning. Thoroughly rinse them out after they've done their job. So that is a fantastic question, and I was excited to answer that because I want people to know Don't get wrapped up in all of these different shampoos. When you properly preserve your dog's skin and coat, and you're using just quality products, shampoo and conditioner, that color is going to be enhanced all on its own, and the shine's going to be there too. The next question comes in from Carolyn, and Carolyn says she's not a groomer. She has a terrier mix, Chihuahua mix, and Cocker Spaniel. She said, I groomed my terrier for the first time this week. It went better than I expected. My problem is that I can't keep her in one place. She is constantly moving around, even with the ropes my grooming table has. I tried distracting her with peanut butter lick. You don't have to do that. I'm telling you, people think, I got to barter with the dog. No, you don't. You have to learn to work with the dog. I've tried the peanut butter lick mat. She's not interested. No, because she doesn't like what you're doing. And she says, how do I keep her still so that I don't hurt her by accident? I love your question, Carolyn, and I'm going to give you a very honest answer. The honest answer is, don't forget, I've said this several times already in this live stream, that you are trying to figure out a way to work with this dog and let this dog understand that she is safe in your hands. Hands. 2 hands. Always both hands. One hand is always touching the dog or doing something else, even if you're brushing, combing, clipping, whatever. This hand has to be on the dog. Keeping a hand on the dog or under the dog while you're working reminds them what you want from them. And it definitely just reminds them that you're working together. If you're not touching the dog and you're kind of coming at them with a clipper, they'll be like, oh, let me get away from that. Nope, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. That's just their natural reaction. I think if you set a 2-year-old down who you can't verbally communicate much with, okay, and you said, now I want to cut your bangs, are you just going to have the dog, your 2-year-old child, sit there and say, now don't move. All right, hold still. I'm going to comb it down and I'm going to cut it. No, you're going to have to do this. You're going to have to do this. You're going to have to do this, because you don't want that 2-year-old moving. By putting that other hand on the child, you're telling them, be still. It's the same with dogs. You have to think about it that way. So getting used to and understanding how to use your other hand to help get good compliancy is very important. Proper harnessing on the table is very important. Using your groomer's anchor. I just showed it last week in the live stream. If you don't have that, you can make something similar. You can make a situation where your dog is kind of anchored using a groomer's helper grooming loop with that O-ring that's fixed down here. It's not a floating ring, it's fixed. And you keep your dog in the right direction at least. So now we taken that scenario out. You can't dance around. They have to be properly harnessed. But this hand is always going to be guiding your dog. And I think if you start practicing and focusing more on what to do with that other hand, or if you're grooming your dog and you look and your other hand is down by your side, then you're doing something wrong. Think about that. This hand needs to be doing something, keeping the dog comfortable and understanding what you want. So I love your question. Thank you for asking it, and I'm sure it helps many others. The next question comes in from Terry. Terry says, I have a Newfie, a Rottie, a mixed lab, and a Beagle Bulldog Boxer mix. Okay, so lots of dogs here. I see Newfie there. Okay, I just joined yesterday because my daughter is struggling to find a good groomer for her Newfie. Because of that, I want to begin a dog bathing business. Okay, we have a lot to learn before you open the doors for a business. I want to open a dog grooming bathing business, and I think that is a wonderful business to have, honestly. And when I retire, specializing in large breeds and double coats. If you say that you should never shave a double coat, do you ever use a clipper on them? Can you explain the difference? Yes, I can, Terry. And I think where you're confused is it never touch a clipper to that coat? Now, we can clip in the paw pads. We can definitely do that, and take that out. Otherwise, that can grow pretty long. It's like they're actually walking on slippers. You can't clip a double coat. A double coat is much different than a short coat or a long coat. A double coat is a medium coat, and it makes up the majority of our dogs fall in a medium coat. And what happens with a medium coat is there's typically some degree of undercoat and then top coat. So the top coat is what's protecting the undercoat. The undercoat is shorter in length than the top coat. The top coat doesn't grow as often or as fast as the undercoat. So if you take the top coat, shorten it down below or to the same length even as the undercoat, you're now encouraging the undercoat to grow longer and exceed the top coat. Half the dogs that have a double coat, their top coat has time periods where it's actually dormant, just like our trees in the wintertime, meaning the top coat is not going to grow. There's certain times it isn't. So if we cut down into past that undercoat, that's just allowing the undercoat to take off and grow like a weed. And they're never going to get that balance back from your top coat to undercoat, so they're the proper ratio. So that is, in a nutshell, the reason why we don't clip into the coat of a Newfoundland. Now, I do know they can become very thick and unruly, like in their pants and the back of them, or even the backs of their legs, or sometimes behind the ears, and it can just really want to mat all the time. But good shampooing and good conditioning definitely helps change that coat to be something that's more manageable, for sure. But you can use scissors, blending shears, and tidy up those areas, because the pants, the butt behind, so if you mess up the undercoat, which the hair is different back there. The ratio of top coat and undercoat is just way different in the back side of the dog, around their butt, and the hair, the furnishings coming off their legs. So it's not the same as the hair that's on their body, on their necks. That is the undercoat and top coat ratio it just can't be disturbed, or the growth is going to be a mess for the future of the dog. So there's a lot of debate around that subject, but I studied it a lot, guys, and I've experimented through the years and seen dogs that have, been clipped and tried to save it. It's just not going to happen. Pomeranians have been clipped. You just never get that coat back. I've tried everything. So just telling you from my experience. So that is the reason, Terry, that we don't do that for the Newfie. But it's okay to trim around the pads, the back of the legs, those behind the ears, and the pants of the dogs, meaning around the backside. That's okay, because we have to keep them clean. So the next question comes from Lisa. Lisa has a long-haired Chihuahua. She's not a groomer. She says, is it okay to use a beard trimmer to shave the tiny paw pads of my long-haired Chihuahua? Well, I would say, it's not going to be terribly unsafe, but a beard trimmer, some of them have a 30 blade, some of them have a 40 blade. I don't know what your beard trimmer has. I would just go get a little mini paw pad trimmer for dogs and be safe about it. Secondly, a beard trimmer for humans, the blade is designed completely different. It is not designed for dog hair. So it may be hard for you to even trim it out. I've never tried to use a beard trimmer on a dog, but I do know the blades are different for trimming a man's beard or cutting human hair. The blades are different than they are for our dog hair. Dog hair is different than human hair, and that's why. So I would just suggest getting an affordable, like $30 paw pad trimmer and be safe, and know it's going to do the job for you. And I can't tell you that it would be okay to use a beard trimmer in the paw pads, because I don't know how close of a clip it is, and I don't even know if it would work, because I never did it. I just know that human products are made differently for the human hair, and dog products are made for dog hair. So that's what I'm basing my answer on. But it's a good question. I would say be safe and get yourself a little dog paw trimmer, because it's the only thing you're trimming is the paw pads. You couldn't use that same trimmer in a sanitary area around the butt or the privates. It's way too short. It's going to cause major irritation. So Terry has another question about the Newfie, the one we were just talking about with the long coat. She said, thank you for answering my question the last time about our Newfie. What's your opinion about flea dipping? This is a good question. I think that it's terrible for the skin, she says, and if I start a bathing business, do I have to offer this service? Nope, that's a great question. Also, what's your opinion on the Furminator? My opinion on the Furminator for a Newfie? No way. I will only use a Furminator or something like a Furminator on a short coat. That's like a Bulldog, Boston Terrier, French Bulldog, short coat. Never a Newfie coat, never a medium coat, no Furminator. Comb and a brush and conditioning, proper shampoo and conditioning is your best. So that's my answer on the Furminator. No, not on a Newfie ever. And then your question about the flea dipping. No, we don't do that anymore, Terry. We don't. For one thing, it's bad for us. It's bad for the dogs. And flea dipping will kill the fleas that are on the dog, but it will only prevent fleas for maybe a few days. So why are we going through this? And it's very hard on the dogs too. It's not good for them. It's not good for you. So flea dipping is a thing of the past, in my opinion. The way I handle fleas and the way I suggest any professional handle fleas, because fleas are they can be such a problem in your salon, because it's not just the fleas that you see on the dog. The adult fleas that you see are only 5% of what's living on your dog. 5%. So the other 95% is encompassed in the other two stages of fleas, the pulpy stage and the larvae stage. Or the eggs. Yeah. So in other words, when a dog comes trotting in your shop and he has a pretty bad flea problem, he's dropping eggs all over the place. Those eggs can hatch up to 360 days later. So do you see what I'm saying? You don't allow them in your shop. That's why I always check out the dogs, greet them. And I get down and I pet them and I'm moving the hair if it's a thick-coated dog. If I'm seeing any sign of fleas, any hair that has been pulled out, the dog's scratching so bad he's ripped out his hair. If I see an overabundance of dander, I'm going to get in there and take a look. A good place to see fleas is on their belly. They always like to be around the organs where the blood flow is, around the tail. So look in those areas. If you're seeing dogs missing hair there's a good chance there's fleas. And you don't want that in your shop. So that's what I say. No fleas allowed. Dogs only. Just dogs. No fleas. Not allowed. And you have signs and you explain that to your clients, as you're conducting your business and opening it and the way that you handle your business. And you just say, we simply do not allow them, because other dogs are at risk. Big time at risk. So that's what I would say about that. That's a great question. The next question comes from Michelle, and she is a Doberman pincer, and she says she is a groomer. She says, hi Amy, I was a groomer on and off for 10 years. However, I developed a debilitating disorder and I had to leave my job as a groomer. I'm very sorry to hear that. She says, after 6 years away, I'm finally healthy enough that I believe I can handle working again. But so much has happened in the grooming world during my time away, and I'm looking to rebuild and restock my toolkit. My question to you is, have you used wide blades, and do you think that they're worth investing in a set of them? Great question. Also, have you used curved thinners? Another great question. What do you think of them? Thanks, Amy. I have learned so much from watching your channel and your videos, and they've made me excited to get back into grooming. I'm excited to hear that, Michelle. So first I'll go right for the chunker curved shears. For the curved thinning shears or blending shears, I do have a set made by Zolita. I have talked to a lot of professional shear sharpeners, and ask them their opinion of them, because there's something about that Zolita curved blender shear that I don't like. It almost feels like it wants to grind on itself, no matter how I adjust it. So as I'm talking to sharpeners, they're telling me that really is, it's not a good idea to make a curved blending shear with the teeth. Because of the way it's curved, it almost will always cause grind. So that makes sense to me. And I have not bought any other curved thinning shears or blending shears since I bought those Zolita ones, because I just feel like they're not going to hold up. And I don't often go for that shear. It still works. It makes a noise too. I just think, from what I've heard from professional shear sharpener companies, a couple of them have said it's almost a little bit of a nightmare to try to have a true good curved thinning shear because of the teeth and the curve, and it's going to be a sharpening nightmare and when it needs to go back. So I stay away from them, and I suggest that to you guys too. You don't really need a curved thinning shear, honestly. I've lived without it for all this time just perfectly. I don't need it. I do love my curved straight shear. That's a different story. Curved straight shear doesn't have those teeth cut out. So that's my answer there. And the other question you had about wide blades, good question. So what I want to tell you about wide blades is, ever since I've been using them, which has been for months now, I really love them. I really, really do. In fact, it might be like a year I've been using them. I don't want to be without them, and I often go for them even on my not so small dogs, or my, Shih Tzus, even a miniature poodle, the legs on a Schnauzer. It's okay to use them. They work great. They actually cover a good bit of ground, and they're easy to work with. Now, what I have heard about all the wide blades themselves, so the blade that's on our clipper that this clips onto, they are hard on our blade drives. And that makes sense, because I blew through 2 blade drives this year, and I never do. So that makes sense that now I'm using the wide blades and I'm blowing through blade drives. And blade drives are very inexpensive. So you can replace it yourself. It's a couple bucks. You definitely want to keep 2 or 3 on hand, just so you always have it. So that's one thing I do want to tell you about the wide blades, is I guess because there's more for the clipper to move, that it's hard on the clipper itself. It's hard on the blade drive. So if that's something that worries you, then just keep doing the regular blades. But if you're okay with checking and changing your blade drive often, and maybe even your lever release, this thing might need replaced or tightened from the weight of the blade, you have to just stay on top of that, and you should be okay. So that is a wonderful question. 2 questions. I'm glad that you asked them. And we're going to move on here to the next one. And I probably will only have time for just a couple more. This one comes from Lizette. And Lizette says, I have a Yorkie. And she says, where do you buy your grooming scissors? Oh, can anybody answer that? Lizette, do you watch my channel? I have a set of shears, a whole set of 3 shears made by Kenchi. Kenchi is a scissor manufacturer. All of my favorite shears are made by Kenchi, Kenchii. So this must be your first time tuning in, because I've only been talking about them for years now. But thanks for the question. Okay, next question. Wait a minute here. It's got a little... Bear with me, guys. This is going to be my last question today. This question comes from Polygraph. And Polygraph, I've seen you many times, and I'm not sure if you're here today. I hope you are, but I think you'll probably watch the replay. Polygraph says, is not a groomer. I have a Shih Tzu and a Fox Terrier mix. So I think it's a Shih Tzu mixed with a Fox Terrier, if I'm correct, or a Shih Tzu and Fox Terrier mix. Not sure if it's 2 dogs or 1. But Polygraph says, Please announce the answer on your live today or in 2 weeks, as I'm having problems with my email account. Okay, no problem. What grooming table is easiest to adjust in height? Says with the stabilizing bars being at the end versus, oh, so one grooming arm versus the whole length. So Polygraph is saying, I don't want that bar that goes from this side above to that side. And I think so too. I feel like it would be in the way. I'm just not used to that either. I wouldn't like it. So Polygraph's looking for just a grooming arm, which you can always switch your grooming arms, no matter what table you buy. You can buy a grooming arm that you like better. But so I have, and she wants a table that goes low. I have linked a table in the description for you, Polygraph, and it is an electric table. For reasons, I suggest you get an electric table, not a hydraulic. Okay, and the Schern-Bauer one that I've linked also comes with a free force dryer right now too, which is a good deal. But it's a reasonable price. It's a sturdy table. It comes with a grooming arm just on the one side, so you don't have all that stuff in your way. And then the table itself lowers down pretty low, which is very convenient, and it's electric. And I think you need an electric table. That's what I think. But that's my answer. It's linked below in the description for you, Polygraph. Okay? All right, guys, I am going to have to jump off here because I have to really figure out what's going on. The health of this live stream keeps going right down to red. And I don't know what's going on with it. But I did put together a new subscriber showdown for you from Hershey, Pennsylvania 2022. Would you like to see it? Our next live stream is in 2 weeks. And the topic, what is the topic again? I lost my notes here. Hounds, I'm going to see you in about a week. October 7th, is it? It's on a Friday. So if you're not a channel member, we get together once a month on our hounds in a private Zoom session. And we take our grooming to the next level. We're learning some great stuff over there. So you can join the hounds if you're interested in that for $4.99. But hounds, I'll be seeing you soon. And our next scheduled live stream is October 10th at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. And the topic is better ways to help you groom your dog smart and easy. You mean like this? This was a good way. We're going to be talking about all the shortcuts, a lot of the DIY things that we can do at home to have successful, easy, smart grooming with our dogs. We're really going to dive into that topic, and I'm excited for it because a lot of you are home groomers. And even if you're not, I'm going to show you some ways to actually, organize your tools, whether you're a home groomer or a pro groomer, doesn't matter. So we've got some good stuff coming for you guys in 2 weeks. I can't wait to see you. And I want to thank you all for putting up with all this bad stuff that my live stream was doing to me all night long. And now we have 2 live streams. I got to try to seam them into one. I got to figure that out. So I will figure it out. Or maybe we'll have a part 1 and part 2 if that's as good as it gets. I don't know. But I'll do something about it. I promise you, my pretties. I will. So I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Thank you for putting up with all this stuff. I love you guys. I'm so proud of you. And thank you for everybody that submitted your questions. And obviously, we still have more questions to answer. But we'll get through them. We'll get through them. No worries. So subscriber showdown for you because I love you and you're freaking awesome. Here you go.